Uh, Good morning and a warm welcome to you all for this sensitization workshop on operational aspects of Urkund plagiarism detection software, which is jointly organized by Knowledge Management Center of Professor Jayashankar Telangana State Agricultural University in association with eGalactic Pune, who are the authorized service provider and support for Urkund plagiarism detection software in India on behalf of Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. On this auspicious occasion, I welcome the chief guest of today's function, Dr. V. Anita Madam, Dean of PG Studies, PJTSAU, for accepting our invitation and gracing this program. We welcome you, Madam. I welcome Ms. Preeti Rati, resource person for today's technical session on Urkund plagiarism detection software from eGalactic Pune. I also welcome all the university officers of PJTSAU, associate deans of different colleges of
మీరు
PJTSAU,
పంపించుంటారు కదమ్మా లేదా
directors, heads of departments, and faculty. I also welcome all the participants who have joined online, and I extend my warm welcome to each and everyone for showing keen interest to participate in this important workshop. The main aim of this sensitization workshop is to provide in-depth exposure with regard to different functionalities of Urkund software, its functions, and important steps required to be followed while using PDF software for checking plagiarism similarity. With this brief background, without taking much of your time, I will now invite our chief guest, Dr. V. Anita Madam, Dean of PG Studies, to address the August gathering. Madam.
Thank you, Dr. Ravikumar Garu, for those nice words of welcome to all the faculty. And good morning to all who have joined here for this sensitization meeting on how to use the Urkund as I remember it. Now it has changed, it appears. The name has been changed. The plagiarism check software. Actually, this is a welcome step. I appreciate the efforts of the university librarian. He's been after me for quite some time actually to organize these sensitization workshops, because a lot of the faculty have been having some questions or the other regarding those who are actually using it, are finding some issues, having questions, and so we thought it is a good opportunity. And since as Dean PG Studies, my concern is that from this batch onwards, the 2019-20 batch onwards, the students also will have to start using the software. So obviously the chairmen are responsible for seeing that their students' theses run through this software, and they give us a certificate saying that it is fully plagiarism proof to whatever extent the software allows. So that was my interest in actually participating. I am as much a participant in this meeting as I wouldn't call myself the chief guest, but basically I also am a participant in this meeting, would like to learn more about the software and see how it will go. Because this meeting is very important because, as you all know, there's been a lot of emphasis for faculty to publish in high impact journals, and which obviously require this anti-plagiarism check, which is very, very essential. As you know, I feel that we need to have a strong base in research ethics, which I don't think we have been really concentrating on as a subject. We haven't been teaching much to the students, but I think we should bring a change in that. Because I have seen several theses, which are basically, cut and paste. Forget about thesis, there will be lots of term papers, assignments that we give to our students. And what comes out is pathetic. I'm sorry to say this, but because nowadays it has become very easy. Earlier in our times, we had to go to the library, pick up books, learn, read, and make reference cards, and then cite and all that. We had a very rigorous system. Now what has happened, it has become very easy. The internet is like godsend for people, for students, and for many others to simply download, and we don't even see that it is a compilation. It's just given to us raw, like it's just downloaded and given to us. That is not wrong. That is totally unethical. So I think we should encourage both faculty and students to think in these terms and start thinking in terms of writing original pieces. We can't all become great writers. I agree with that. We can't all become great writers, but at least we should make an attempt. We should make an attempt, and the more times you fail, the better you improve yourself. So in that context, I would appeal to all the faculty also. First, I think we should better ourselves before we start giving lectures to the students. So I really think it is a good beginning for us to start here. And in future also, we will see with see everybody else kindly mute your microphones, please.
Dr. Harish Garu, please mute yourself.
Sir, if you have a command with you or a control with you, go ahead and mute everybody except who is speaking.
Fine.
Yeah. So the issue is that I and the university librarian and the rest of the deans of the faculties would try to hold such sensitization workshops on various topics which require our attention in future. That said, I think this is a good initiative, and I hope you all will gain from this workshop. And I think I would also have some questions regarding data safety, data security and safety. You know, once the faculty or students actually upload their files for, checking the plagiarism, what happens to those files after it is uploaded? You know, once they get their report, do you store it somewhere, or is it deleted, or what is? I would like some updates on that too, madam. I would be happy to see that, because everybody, we should understand that whatever we produce, as much as we know that it is our intellectual property, somebody else's research that we quote is their property. We should acknowledge that and be wholehearted in acknowledging their contribution in our research. So I appeal to all of you all to keep this in mind while you are actually writing your proposals. This part will be very important, where your project proposals go also. So kindly keep this in mind and make the best use of this software. And if necessary, we will see if there are issues, you please bring it up to us, and then we will forward it to the concerned authorities. They might help us find a solution for it. With this, with these few words, I won't take much time, because it is important for us to concentrate on what they are going to say rather than what I am going to say. So I request the speaker from eGalactic. Welcome, madam, Dr. Rati, and please go ahead. Go ahead and let us know what we should know. Thank you so much.
So much, madam, for your introductory remarks and for explaining about the importance of plagiarism and related issues. And now I invite our resource person, Ms. Preeti Rati. A brief about Preeti Rati is she has completed her BCA from Birla Institute of Technology and MBA from Symbiosis University. She was always passionate about teaching and completed B.Ed from Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur. She has vast experience in teaching, training, and introduction of plagiarism tools in universities and other institutes. She has experience of teaching students across different level. She has been doing training on plagiarism for nearly since 5 years, and done more than 500 training programs across more than 400 universities and institutes in India and Sri Lanka also. She has experience of teaching for more than 15 years, and we are lucky to have her today as a resource person. Now I welcome Ms. Preeti Rati ji to deliver her lecture. Preeti,
thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll just share my screen. Sir, I hope the screen is visible and my voice is audible.
Voice is audible, madam. Screen not yet. It is being loaded.
Yeah, I could see it says original user training.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, please go ahead, madam.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, sir, and thank you, madam. So I take this opportunity to thank the chief guest of the function, Dr. V. Anita, the librarian, sir, Dr. Ravi Kumar, and all the faculty members for giving me this opportunity to take you through Original today. It is definitely a great initiative by Professor Jayashankar, Telangana State Agricultural University, to have a sensitization program on Original plagiarism detection software. And on behalf of eGalactic, let me extend a warm welcome to all of you for being a part of this session. Thank you so much, sir, for your introduction. And as rightly said by ma'am, that this is a great step, and we really appreciate the efforts taken by you as well as Ravi Kumar, sir, for organizing this session. And ma'am, we would start with a brief introduction about eGalactic. eGalactic has more than 12 years of experience in this field, with the basic goal to assist the faculties and institutes to enhance the quality of education. We try to understand the needs of the education market and then address those needs with the best available products across the globe. And the products that we offer are being used by more than 1,500 universities and institutes in India and more than 10,000 institutes globally across 100 plus countries. So basically, we are offering products in 4 domains. The first one is the field of plagiarism detection system. Here we have Original. Earlier it was known as Urkund, but now Urkund and PlagScan have come together, and that is why Urkund has been rebranded as Original. The second is the field of thesis management system. Here we have Skype Pro. The third is the area of business simulation games, whereby we offer Markstrat and the business strategy game. And last but not the least is the field of learning management system. Here we offer Microsoft Teams. Taking you through the details of Original. Original is a Swedish product owned and developed by Prio Info Center AB. This is a company that is based at Stockholm, Sweden. And if I talk about its global presence, it is being used by more than 5,000 customers in more than 80 countries. A glimpse of few of the customers who are using Original can be seen on the left part of the slide. At the same time, the best part about Original is that it can be integrated with learning management system, and a few of the learning management partners with which Original is generally integrated that we can see at the right part of the slide. We feel extremely humbled to be associated with the Shodshuddhi program. So as you are all aware, Urkund has been rolled out by eGalactic and Inflibnet to all the universities and CFTIs in India from 1st of September 2019 under the Shodshuddhi program. This program is an initiative of Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. For more details, you could please log on to pds.inflibnet.ac.in/index.php, or you could also log on to www.egalactic.in. Please be noted that now Urkund has been rebranded as Original. The Shodshuddhi program was launched by Honorable Minister of Human Resource Development, Shri Ramesh Pokhriyal sir, on Saturday, 21st of September 2019. I would now like to take you through the unique features of Original. The first one is monitoring with Original is an easy task. Before we start creating the accounts for the faculty members, we have an option to bifurcate the faculty members on the basis of their departments or on the basis of their subjects, such that at any given point of time, we can keep a track on the number of submissions done by each organization level. So please be noted that all the accounts are regulated from the ends of the Urkund coordinator of your, and before the accounts are being created for the faculty members, the Urkund coordinator can create organization level. That means he can bifurcate the faculty members on the basis of their departments or on the basis of their subjects taught. So the benefit of creating organization level is that we can keep a track on the number of submissions done by each organization level. At the same time, we can ensure that the product is being used uniformly across the entire institution. The next is individual faculty accounts can be created. As the directions from Inflibnet, we can create accounts for all And the benefit of creating the accounts for the faculty members is that the students can submit directly to the faculty members, and this way pass the assignment, coursework and the project work would be available for faculty members for reference. At the same time, we also have the option whereby we can create the submitter accounts for the research scholars. So as per the directions from InflibNet, we can create the submitter accounts for the research scholars such that the students are able to submit the document directly to the faculty members, and this way they are able to keep a log of all the submissions which they have done to the concerned faculty. And there's a preventive effect also involved here. It's just like if we are at a traffic signal and there's no traffic policeman deployed there, in that case people may still take chance to bypass the red light. However, if there's a traffic policeman, in that case those occurrences or those instances are comparatively less. In the same way, when the right set of expectation is being laid on the students that their work is going to be run against original plagiarism detection software, in that case it is ensured that the original content is being submitted and not a plagiarized one. A very important feature of original is that it avoids false positive reports, because none of the faculty members in an authentic report that is lot of false positive, because a false positive report clutters the report to such an extent that it becomes meaningless to use original. At the same time, false positive reports are time consuming and can also lead to undetected cases of plagiarism. This is the reason why the system avoids false positive reports and provides us with true similarity percentage. Original also supports multiple Indian languages like Hindi, Sanskrit, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Marathi, Bengali, Urdu, etc. The only thing that we need to keep in mind while uploading a document in regional languages, that regional language documents need to be uploaded in Unicode compliant font. So each of the language has a particular Unicode compliant font, and we need to ensure that when we are uploading regional language documents, they need to be uploaded in Unicode such that the system is able to read them and provide us with the true similarity report. Another important feature is that our system is not available for sale to ghostwriters or cheaters. We are all aware that ghostwriting or contract cheating is a serious issue at the universities, but since original is not available for sale to ghostwriters or to individuals, that is why it does not give ghostwriters the possibility to deliver the similarity report from original along with the contract essay. Hence, it becomes harder for the ghostwriters to sell to students at those universities which are using original. So this is the reason why we simply sell to universities only, not to individuals, not to students, so that we can contribute our bit to improve the quality of research. Let us now understand as to what is the right time to introduce original in the education system. So if we talk about the levels of education in our country, we would be able to see that during the pre-primary and the primary is negligible, maximum 1 to 2 pages have to be written, and at the same time the expectation is that the original content would be produced by the students, because very small students would come up with different answers at different instances of time. However, when we move up the ladder, let's say from secondary to higher secondary or up to bachelor's level, we would see that the written work gets increased and the expectation shifts from presenting original content to reproducing as to whatever is present in the books, in the notebooks, and whatever has been taught. However, in the master's and PhD, whereby the written work has improved manifold times from maybe 100 to 200 pages, in that case, the expectation again shifts to presenting the original content. So the right time to introduce original in the education system is latest at the bachelor's level, so that the right set of expectation is being laid on the students in the initial years of the bachelor's courses. And since they get used to the idea of presenting the original content for the next 3 years, hence once they are in master's and PhD, things tend to become easy, and it becomes easier for them to present original content. So latest at the bachelor's level, we should focus to introduce original in the education system. Original as a tool is extremely easy to use. In this slide, we are able to see there are two characters. One is a submitter and the other is a receiver. As the name suggests, submitter is a person who can submit the document and receiver is a person who can receive the analysis report. So the moment the submitter has submitted a document, he would receive a system-generated confirmation email that a particular document has been uploaded, and then the document is being scanned for similarity. It is analyzed and a similarity score is being generated. The next step is that the report is being shared with the receiver, and the receiver then is able to analyze the report. So we just saw that the submitter or the student is only able to submit the document. However, he would not be able to view the report. So once the submitter has submitted the document, he would receive a confirmation email. However, the report would be shared with the concerned receiver, and the receiver can share the report with the submitter if they so desire. So the accounts for the research scholars are the submitter accounts, and that would enable them only to upload the document, not receive the report directly. However, the account that is being created for the faculty members, the research supervisors or the guides is the receiver account, and it would enable them to upload the document as well as receive the analysis report. So the original model enables all the faculties to have individual accounts such that the students can submit the document directly to the faculty members, achieving the purpose of addressing plagiarism. Let us now get into the details. Let us discuss each of these topics in detail. Now we would be talking about the receiver registration process, the submitter registration process, as well as the modes by which we access original. We would also talk about the ways by which we upload a document, as well as managing multiple submissions. So all these details we are going to talk here in the detailed technical part. And we would start with the faculty registration process, whereby a request needs to be sent to the university coordinator for registering you as an original receiver. The moment the account has been created by the coordinator, the registered member would receive an email from noreply@original.se with the subject "Welcome to Original." And this is a screenshot of the mail which is received by the concerned faculty member. In this email, we are able to see that enclosed within this box, there's a unique analysis address. So basically, just like each student of an institute or an organization is being provided with a roll number or a registration number, in the same way, each and every faculty member that has been registered onto Original would be provided with a unique analysis address. This is a system-generated analysis address, and the purpose to create this analysis address is to ensure that each and every document that we upload reaches the concerned faculty account. So basically, a unique analysis address is generated for each of us, and whenever we are trying to upload the document, we need to be uploading this document to this particular analysis address only. Now, this analysis address is connected to our registered email. So reports, once they are ready, would be sent to our registered email ID using our email. And apart from this, each user also has a personal web-based inbox where they can receive the original reports. And to use the personal inbox, we need to activate it via the link which is given here at the bottom. This is the account activation link. Once I click onto this link, I'm taken to the next page in which I'm supposed to type in my name, password. I need to retype my password and select a language. Once I accept the terms of service, I would click on create, and I would get a notification that the registration process has been completed and an original account has been configured for us. Please be noted that the account activation link works only for 96 hours. In case if you are unable to activate the link within the stipulated time, kindly contact the Urkund coordinator or the support team at support@egalactic.in, and we would be able to share a new link with you using which the account can be activated again. Now, the next is logging onto Original portal. So here we are at this particular prompt. So we would log on to original.com, and in this portal, right top side, there's a login option. Once I click onto login, the system would take me to the next page in which I'm supposed to select the option login to the web inbox global. So once I have clicked onto this option, the system would ask me to enter my username and my password. So I can log in using my username or password, or I can also log in using the email ID and the password. And once these details have been entered, what the next that we need to do is we need to be clicking on to sign in. And once I have clicked on to sign in, the system takes me to the next page in which I'm able to see my new web inbox. This is how the new web inbox looks like. In this new web inbox, left top side, I'm able to see there's an option to upload the files as well as to create the folder. Moreover, I'm also able to see the name of the uploaded document. Along with it, I'm also able to see the name of the submitter, that is the details of the submitter who had uploaded the document. Along with it, I'm also able to see the percentage sign. So this percentage sign signifies the percentage of similarity that has been found in this particular document. Followed by this, I would be able to see the document reference number. Each of the document that you have uploaded onto the system would be provided with a document reference number. And this reference number is specifically useful in those cases when we try to coordinate with the support team regarding any query in any document. In that case, I would request you to share the document reference number with us. Followed by this, I'm also able to see the document log, that is the date and time of submission. So all these details we are able to see in the new portal. Along with the new portal, we can also access the old portal. So here we have logged on to original.com. At the right top side, there's a login option in which I'm supposed to click here, access the old web inbox here. So basically, before Urkund was rebranded as Original, we had the old web inbox. In case if you wanted to access the old web inbox, we can simply click on here. And once we have clicked here, I need to type in the username and password. And once I have clicked on to login, the system would take me to the old portal. And this is how it looks like. In the old portal, left top side, there's the analysis address that was generated for me. And right top side, there's a link to upload the document. Scrolling down, I'm able to see the document reference number. The percentage of similarity followed by the document reference number, name of the document. I'm also able to see size of the document, number of words found in the document, followed by the document log, that is the date and time of submission. So all these details we are able to see here in the old portal. And now let us talk about the next one, that is accessing the submitter portal. So the process to activate the submitter portal is also the same as that of the receiver portal. A request has to be sent to the Urkund coordinator of your institution to create a submitter account. And the moment the account has been created by the submitter, the account has been created by the coordinator, the concerned person would receive an email with the subject account creation invitation. And in this email, I'm able to see there's a link here. This is the account activation link. Once I have clicked onto this link, I'm taken to the next page in which I'm supposed to type in my email, name, password, etc. And the moment I would click on to create, we would get a notification that the registration process has been completed and an original account has been configured for us. So this is how the submitter registration process is completed. As far as logging on to the submitter portal is concerned, we would log on to original.com. At the login prompt, I would type in the username and password. And once I have clicked on to login, the system would take me to the next page in which I'm able to see the submitter portal. In the submitter portal, I'm able to see the document reference number, name of the document, size of the document, number of words. And at the right top side, we are able to see there's a link to upload the document. So this is how the submitter portal looks like. The next is the modes by which we can access original. Excuse me. So there are three ways by which we can access original. The first one is accessing original using an email. The second one is accessing original using the web portal. And the third one is accessing original using the learning management system. So the first one, accessing original using our email. Our email account is linked to our unique analysis address. So any document that we want to upload has to be sent as an attached file to this particular analysis address using an email. The moment we have uploaded a particular document, we would receive a system-generated confirmation email that a particular document has been uploaded. Later on, once the report has been generated, again we would receive an email stating that the report is ready and that mail contains a link using which we can access the analysis report. The second one is accessing original using the web portal. So the users can also log in through the web portal as discussed in the registration process, that means in the previous slides. And the third one is accessing original using the learning management system. So since original can be integrated with an LMS, the third way by which we access original is using the learning management system. The next is the ways by which we upload a particular document. There are three ways by which we upload a particular document. The first one is document upload using an email. So the process by which we upload a particular document using an email is similar to sending a mail to a particular person, with the only difference that instead of the email ID, I need to be typing in the analysis address. So here I am at the compose box. I've clicked at the compose box in my email ID, and this page opens up. In this, the first detail that I need to be typing in is a valid analysis address. So here, instead of the email ID, I would type in the analysis address followed by the subject as well as the message. The next would be to attach in the document for similarity check. And once I have attached the document for similarity, I would click on to send. And the moment I click on to send, document would be uploaded using an email. And immediately after I have uploaded the document using an email, I would receive a system generated confirmation that a particular document has been uploaded. And in that and later on, once the report has been generated, again, I would receive an email stating that the report is ready, and that mail contains a link using which I can access the analysis report. Now, please be noted that document upload using an email can be done only through the registered email ID of the receiver or the submitter within the same university or the institute. If we use some other email ID that has not been registered either as a submitter or as a receiver within the same university or the institute, in that case, the system would not allow us to upload the document. The second one is uploading the document using the new web inbox. So this is how the new web inbox looks like. In this new web inbox, I'm able to see left top side, there's a create or an upload option. Once I have clicked here, the next would be to click on to upload files. And once I've clicked on to upload file, the next step would be to attach the document for similarity check. And once I have attached the document for similarity, the next step would be to enter in the other details. So here I would attach in the document for similarity. So here I have attached in the document for similarity. Followed by this, I need to be typing in the analysis address. In case if I have been registered as a receiver, then I simply need to select the analysis address from the drop-down menu. However, if I've been registered as a submitter, in that case, I need to be typing in the analysis address of the concerned faculty member to whom I wish to upload the document. Followed by this, I need to be typing in the subject as well as the message. And once I have attached in all the details, I need to be clicking on to upload files. The moment I have clicked on to upload file, I would get a notification here that would state upload started, and after that I would get another notification that would say upload completed. So the moment I have clicked on, I would need to wait for a minute or so, and once that pop-up vanishes from the screen, I would be able to receive a system generated confirmation email that a particular document was uploaded. And later on, I would also be able to see that the system has refreshed itself. I'm able to see the name of the uploaded document as well as the name of the submitter. Followed by this, I'm able to see the document reference number as well as the time of submission. So all these details are visible here. It signifies that the document has been uploaded successfully. Moreover, there is a show file progress option here. Once I've clicked here, I'm able to see the document reference number as well as the status as being completed. So this way we are able to see that the document has been uploaded successfully. So this way we can have a look whether the document has been uploaded successfully or not. And immediately after the document has been uploaded successfully, we would receive a system generated confirmation email that a document was uploaded. Moreover, we are able to see the details of the document on the portal. And we can also upload the document using the old web inbox. So in the old web inbox, right top side, there is a link to upload the documents. Once I've clicked onto this link, I'm taken to the next page in which I'm supposed to select the analysis address in case if I've been registered as a receiver, and in case of submitter, I need to be typing in the analysis address. Followed by this, I need to be typing in the subject as well as the message. Then I can scroll down and I would attach the document for similarity. And once I've attached the document for similarity, I need to click on to submit. And the moment you click on to submit, the document would be uploaded. You would receive a system generated confirmation email that a particular document has been uploaded. Moreover, we would also be able to see the document reference number, name of the document, size, number of words, etc. on the on a portal, and this signifies that the document has been uploaded successfully. Now, the next one is having a look at the report. So there are three ways by which we can access the report. The first one is the report link would be received on the receiver's registered email address from noreply@original.com. So this is the mail that we receive here. In this mail at the bottom part, there is a link using which I can open up the report. And the moment I click onto this link, the new page would open up. Kindly disable the pop-up blocker if the new page does not open up. The second one is the report can also be accessed using the new web inbox. And in the new web inbox, if I wanted to see a particular report, I need to select the document here. And after clicking on to select a document option, I need to click on to open report. For example, if I wanted to see the report here, I can select this particular document. And the moment I have selected this document, I would get an option like open report. And once we have clicked on to open report, the report would open up in a new page for us. And the next one is accessing the report using the receiver portal. So in the receiver portal, the moment the report has been prepared, I would be able to see the percentage sign. And once I click onto the percentage sign, the report would open up in a new page for us. Kindly disable the pop-up blocker if the new page does not open up. The next one is the document overview bar. So the next is now a sample report. So here we have a sample report in front of us, and let us discuss how we can read and understand the report. So in this report, we are able to see there's a document overview bar, and we use this bar to have a quick look at the findings in the document. Once I have clicked onto a particular findings, I would get details about the specific match or warning, and I have the option to investigate it further in the findings view. So here this bar is the document overview bar. Once I have clicked onto this document overview bar, I'm taken to the next page in which I'm able to support. So in this bar, I'm able to see certain parts being highlighted in orange and others in purple. So these parts which were highlighted in orange would signify that some kind of matching text was found, and the other parts which were highlighted in purple or blue would signify that some kind of warning was generated. By warning, we mean that something abnormal has been found in the document. Maybe some different script or writing system has been found, or maybe some abnormally longer words have been used, because of which the system generates a warning. So here we are able to see the particular parts being highlighted in orange, and this would signify a matching text or warning. And this would signify a matching text. It signifies that some kind of similarity has been found. And in case if I wanted to have the details here, I could click onto a particular finding. And once I click on a particular finding, I would get details about the specific match or warning. And I have the option to investigate it further in the findings view. So when I click on a findings in the document overview bar, I would be able to see a snippet of the matching text or an explanation of the warning. So here I can go straight to the view details of the finding, or else I can continue to go through all the matches to have a quick overview. And the next one is the findings tab. So this box will tell us how many findings are there in the document. I can navigate to the findings view, whereby I can investigate the detected findings closely, side by side with the matching source text. Please be noted that we distinguish between matching text and warnings, and I can reach them separately. However, if you did not want to see the details of the matching text or the warnings, we can, and you prefer to go straight to the entire document with all the findings highlighted, you can click onto this tab, view the entire document. And once I have clicked here, the system would take me to the next page, whereby I'm able to see the complete report. Now the next one, so here we have view the entire document, and once I click here, I will be able to view the complete report. The next one is the similarity bars, and it displays two similarity percentage. The first one is this assignment's aggregated similarity percentage, and the second one is the receiver's average similarity. That is the average similarity of all the submitted documents to this particular receiver. So the first bar shows this assignment's aggregated similarity percentage, and the second one shows the average, the receiver's average similarity, that is the average similarity of all the submitted documents to this particular receiver. Now, the next that we are able to see is the submission details tab, whereby we will find all the necessary information about the document, such as name of the submitter, file name, date and time of submission, submission ID, as well as the message. Then we are also able to see the findings tab. So basically in a report, there are three tabs. The first one is this findings tab. The second one is the sources tab. And the third one is the entire document tab. So under the findings tab, we would have options like show in text, types. We would have side-by-side boxes. We would have sources tab. Along with it, there would also be a profile menu. So the first one, that is the findings tab. And this findings tab will help us to navigate between different findings types. So we can navigate between matching text as well as warnings as well as the bin. So in case if we wanted to see the details of the matching text, we can click onto the orange icon. In case if we wanted to see the details of the warning, we can click onto the purple icon. And the third one is the bin. And this is where the removed findings would end up. Now, the show in text option would show us toggle options. So here we find the options to enable codes, to enable brackets, as well as to show detailed text differences. So if we go through a sample report, here we would be able to see the findings tab. And under the findings tab, we are able to see the enabling quotes option, enabling brackets option, as well as the detailed text differences. So in case if we wanted to see those parts of the document that were put within quotes, what we can do is we can simply enable this option. And once we have enabled this option, those parts of the document that were put within quotes would be highlighted in gray color. And the second one is the toggle brackets highlighting. So if we enable this option, those parts of the document that were put within brackets would be highlighted in blue color. So this is how it looks like. Since we've enabled these options, the parts within brackets have been highlighted in blue color, and the other parts being highlighted in gray are the ones that were put within quotes. Then the third one is the detailed text difference, and detailed text difference actually brings to our notice the exact difference between our uploaded document as well as the matching source text. So since we have enabled this option, detailed text difference, the system is highlighting those parts of the document which were either modified or deleted. So the parts that have been highlighted in yellow would signify those parts which have been deleted, which have been modified or changed, and the parts highlighted in pink would signify those parts which have been deleted. So the exact difference between our uploaded document as well as matching source text would be brought to your notice once you've enabled this option, show detailed text differences. Then we are also able to see the side-by-side comparison. So this is how the system brings it to our notice. Left side is our uploaded document, and right side is matching source text or content of the source from where similarity was found. And here in the findings tab, if we see, we are able to see the finding with the matching text as well as the warning tabs. So in case if we wanted to see the details of the matching text, we can click onto orange icon. In case if we wanted to see the details of the warning, we can click onto the purple icon. In this way, we are able to have a look at the side-by-side comparison in the matching text or the warning. So in case if I click onto this matching text here, I'm able to see a side-by-side comparison. For example, this is a particular type of warning. Here we are able to see there was a sentence, diving with bubbles of carbon monoxide in the blood. What has happened is that a particular letter X has been introduced in So here we are able to see that a particular matching text, a particular character has been introduced after each word in this sentence, so that the sentence has become an abnormally longer word. So this could be one case of matching text or warnings. And the second one could be here, the particular letter has been written in some different script or writing system. For example, if I just go through this, I'm able to see that letter O, letter P has been written in some different script or writing system, and this signifies that this is some kind of a warning, maybe something abnormal, because it could be the result of an attempt to subvert the analysis. That is why the letters or symbols have been replaced with different symbols which look similar, and this practice is also termed as homoglyph. So these can be certain instances of because of which some kind of warning has been generated. And here at the bottom we are also able to see there's a bin, and this bin actually signifies that whenever we have deactivated a particular matching source, the particular primary source from the report, in that case it would be sent to the bin, and whenever you want to have a look at those primary sources, you can access the bin. Now, apart from the overall similarity percentage, the system also brings to our notice the percentage of similarity for each individual block of text also. For example, here if I just go through this, I am able to see that this particular block of text, 100% similarity was found. In this particular block of text, 94% similarity was found. So these would be highlighted here, and like in case if the subject matter expert thinks that a particular matching block of text should not have been included in the report, maybe because it was put within quotes, or it was properly referenced or put within quotes or something like that, in that case what can happen is the subject matter expert can uncheck this a particular matching block of text, and once we have unchecked this particular matching block of text, in that case, this particular block of text would no longer be included in the report, and the similarity score would be recalculated. So if you think that this particular block of text should not have been included in the report, maybe because it was put within quotes or it was properly referenced, in that case, what we can do is we can simply uncheck this include in analysis option. And once we have unchecked this option, in that case, we would be able to see that this block of text is no longer being included in the report, and the similarity score has been recalculated. From 79%, it has come down to 74%, and this signifies that this particular block of text is no longer being included in the report. So this way, if the subject matter expert thinks we can uncheck a particular matching block of text, for example, this was put within quotes, we can uncheck it, and once we have unchecked it, again the similarity score has come down from 74% to 70%. So this block of text is no longer being included in the report now. Now, also, we are able to see there is the details of the source at the bottom. This is the primary source, and here in the this is basically the detail of the source from which similarity was found. And in this source, we are also able to see the type of source. So W stands for website, J stands for journal, T stands for textbook, and SA stands for student assignment. It means those documents that have been uploaded onto original and have been saved onto the original's repository by default. The next is alternative sources. So whenever we have uploaded a particular document for similarity check, we would be able to see that the system finds multiple sources in which similar content was found. However, the system would highlight the most important source in which the content was there, and the most important source would be highlighted as the primary source. So based on the ranking of our algorithm, the system would highlight one source as the primary source, and the other sources which were found to be similar would be categorized as alternative overlapping sources. So when a particular document has been scanned for similarity, the system would find multiple sources in which similar content was there. However, the system highlights one source that is the primary source based on the ranking of our algorithm, and the other sources in which similar content was found would be kept as matching overlapping sources. So here we are able to see there is something called alternative sources. And in case if we wanted to see the details of the alternative sources, in that case, I can simply click onto alternative source here. And once I click onto alternative source, I would be able to see the details of the alternative source. Please be noted that alternative sources are bundled in what we call as level, since an overlap could be matches again several sources. So here you have the option that you expand these levels, and for that we need to be simply clicking onto this downward arrow key. Once we have clicked onto this downward arrow key, we would be able to expand this particular source level of sources. Then I can select a particular level of source, and once I have selected a particular level of source, I would be able to see that the primary source has been sent to the bin, and the system is now comparing the document against the alternative sources. So this way we are able to this way, we are able to select the alternative source and get the document compared against the alternative source instead of being compared with the primary source. And the moment I have unchecked the primary source here, it would land up in the bin, and here you can access the bin. In the bin, I'm able to see the primary source. And in case if you think that this primary source needs to be taken back into the report, I can simply click onto restore. And the moment you have clicked onto restore, you would be able to see that the primary source is being taken back into the report. And here we would again get the previous report. So this way you can select the primary source as well as the alternative sources. Now, we discussed that this is how it looks like. We are able to see the side-by-side comparison. So here we are able to see the left side, we are able to see our uploaded document, and right side, we are able to see the matching source text. However, many a times it would so happen that we are not able to see the matching source text. So here, this is how it looks like. And we are left side, we are able to see our own uploaded work, but right side, we are not able to see the matching source text. Instead, it writes something like this: the document has been exempted as a viewable source in the Urkund archive by the author. So basically, when we upload a particular document, we would receive a system generated confirmation email that a particular document was uploaded. And in that confirmation email, I would be able to see there is a link. And in that once I have clicked onto that link, my document would be exempted. So next, let us say I had uploaded a particular document, and using the confirmation email, I had exempted my document. Next time, if some other person has uploaded a document in which some kind of similarity was found with respect to my document, in that case, the system would not show even a single line or a paragraph of my work in the concerned person's report. And this is how the report would look like. So here, the left side, we would be able to see our own uploaded work, and right side, we would not be able to see the matching source text. Instead, the system would write something like this: the document has been exempted as a viewable source in the Urkund archive by the author. So since you have chosen to exempt your document, that is why if some other if someone else uploads a document in which similarity was found with respect to my document, in that case, the system would not show even a line or a paragraph of my work to the other person, and we would get a notification like this: the document has been exempted as a viewable source in the Urkund archive by the author. So this way, the document can be exempted. Now, we also have a profile menu on the right top side, and this profile menu will help us to enable codes, to enable brackets, as well as to show the detailed text differences. Moreover, we are also able to see there's an option called export report, share report, change language, and so on. In case if we wanted to export the report as a PDF, what we can do is we can simply click onto the downward arrow key present at the right top side. And once I have clicked here, once I click onto this, I would get a notification that the document is now being converted into PDF and it is being downloaded onto our system. Alternatively, what we can also do is in the profile menu also, we have a tab here we have an option export to PDF, and once we click onto export PDF, we would be able to convert the document onto PDF, and we would be able to download it onto our system. So this way we are able to have a look at the findings tab. The next one is the sources tab, and this is where we would find the list of all the original sources which we found during the analysis. So these are the sources in which we found text similarities with the submitted document. So under the sources tab, the first option that we are able to see is the source list, and this would show us the list of the identified sources, and this is now being displayed in a separate view. And we could view the original source by clicking on one of them in the list. The next one is the source legend, and these icons will tell us what type of source it was. So W stands for website, J stands for journal, T stands for textbook, and SA stands for student assignment. It means those documents that have been previously uploaded to original and have been saved onto originals archive. Now, the next that we are able to see is location and document, and this bar would show us where did matches to specific source occur in the document. I can click onto a particular highlight in order to see a summary of the match, or else I can directly head to the findings details tab. The next one is the alternative source. So we discussed with it that when we upload a particular document for similarity check, the system would find multiple sources in which similar content was found. However, the system highlights the most important source here as the primary source. But in case if you wanted to see the details of the alternative overlapping sources, so basically the primary source is brought to your notice, and we are able to see the primary source here. However, if you wanted to see the alternative sources, in that case, what you need to do is we need to simply expand this container here. And once we've expanded this container, we are able to see the primary sources as well as the alternative sources here. In case due to any reason, if you think that the primary source should not have been included in the report, your document should have been compared with alternative source. In that case, what you can do is we can simply like uncheck this particular or the primary source. And once we have unchecked this primary source, the system would ask us whether the document needs to be compared with alternative overlapping sources. And here again, the alternative overlapping sources are bundled in what we call as level, because the alternative sources are bundled in what we call as level, since an overlap could be matches against several sources. So you could simply select a particular level of alternative sources, and once you have done this, the system would compare the alternatives, the document against the alternative source and not against the primary source, and hence the similarity score would be recalculated. And here we are also able to see there's an option here that says, are you missing a source from the list? In case if you think that a particular source has been missed, you can place the link of that particular source here. You can place the URL of that particular missing source. And once you click on to send, then you would be able to see that we are able to see that a request to index this particular source has been sent to the technical team. And then the third one that we are able to see is the entire document tab. And this is how the entire document tab looks like. Here we are able to see certain parts, the colored parts of the document, and it indicates matching text or warnings, and that we can see here. And also with the colored parts would indicate matching text or warnings. If they are highlighted in orange, it signifies it's a matching text. If they are highlighted in purple, it means it is a warning. So that we can have a look here. And so here, in case if we wanted to see the details of the matching text or the warnings, I can simply click onto this highlight. And once I have clicked onto this matching highlight, the system would allow us to have a side-by-side comparison. And this is how we are able to see the side-by-side comparison. And here we can compare the student text with the matching source text. For that, side-by-side comparison is visible. And at this particular point of time, we should enable this option, show detailed text differences, so that we don't miss anything important. And by clicking on to next, we would be able to skip on to the next finding. And this way we are able to read and understand a report. Now moving on to a PDF report, this is how a PDF report looks like. We are able to see the name of the document, reference number, the date and time of submission, followed by the percentage of similarity as well as the analysis address. And when I scroll down, I would be able to see the other details. I'm able to see the details of the matching text, the details of those highlights in which some similarity was found, and they have been highlighted with a percentage sign. And then when I scroll down, I would be able to see a side-by-side comparison, whereby left side would be my own uploaded work and right side would be content of the source from where similarity was found, so that we would be able to see in the lower part of the report. So this way, the system brings to our notice the details of the matching text. We are able to have a side-by-side comparison under a PDF report. Now, the next one is managing multiple submissions. So basically, we wanted, when we upload a particular document onto Similarity Check, it is saved onto the repository by default. So next time, when we upload the modified version of the document, the system compares the document against the previously uploaded document, and hence a very high percentage of similarity would be generated. This in our language we term as a duplicate report. So let us understand as to how can we manage a duplicate report, or how can we manage multiple submissions. So basically, when we have uploaded the document, in that case, the system would save the document onto the repository by default. And next time when we upload the modified version, the system compares the document against the previously uploaded document, and hence we would get a high percentage of similarity, and this is called a duplicate report. Now, the next one that let us discuss the three ways by which we are able to manage multiple submissions, or we are able to manage duplicates. The first one is submission from the same submitter account to the same receiver account. So let us say that I am a research scholar. I had uploaded a document to a particular faculty using my submitter account to that particular faculty's receiver account. After a few days, again I uploaded the modified version of the document from the same submitter account to the same receiver account. In that case, the system understands that it is the student's own work, and hence it would not compare the document against the previously uploaded document, and hence we would be able to avoid duplicates. So when the documents are uploaded from the same submitter account to the same receiver account, in that case, the document would not be scanned with the earlier versions of the documents which have been submitted earlier. So document 1 was submitted from submitter 1 account to receiver 1 account. Document 2 was again submitted from submitter 1 account to receiver 1 account. In that case, the system understands that it is the student's own work, and hence it would not compare the document against the previously uploaded document. And this way we are able to avoid duplicates. So this was one way by which we handle duplicates. Now the second one is the second way is removing sources of earlier document submission. So let me take you through an example. Let me take you through a report in which 100% similarity was found because the system had compared the document against my previously uploaded document. In that case, what I can do is I can uncheck the previously uploaded document. And once I have unchecked the previously uploaded document, in that case, the system would not compare the document against the previously uploaded document, and we would be able to see just a minute. So here, let us say this is a report here, and in this report, we are getting 100% similarity, and this 100% similarity has been generated because the system has compared with the previously uploaded, with the modified document with my previously uploaded document. So in this case, what I can do is I can simply what I can do is I can simply uncheck the previously uploaded document by moving on to the sources tab. So here, this is a sample report. In this sample report, once I am in the sources tab, I would be able to see that the document shows 100% similarity with my previously uploaded document. So in this case, what we can do is I can uncheck this primary source. So I'll expand this container. I'll click onto the downward arrow key. Once I've clicked onto the downward arrow key, I'm able to see the primary source as well as the alternative sources. I would uncheck the primary source. And once I have unchecked the primary source, in that case, what happens is I'm able to see the alternative sources. And as we discussed, alternative sources are bundled in what we call as level, since an overlap could be matches from several sources. So I can expand this container to see which sources are in it. I can select a particular level of sources. And once I've selected a level of source, I need to click on to save and continue. And once I do this, I would be able to see that the document is no longer being compared with my previously uploaded document. It is being compared with alternative source, and hence the similarity score has been recalculated. From 100%, it has come down to 30%. Now, since we have the report now, what we can do is we have a modified report, so we can convert the document onto PDF, or else under the profile menu, there's a share report option. We can click onto share report and we can enter the email ID of the concerned research scholar. Once I click on to send, the concerned person would receive the link for the modified report. So this way you can uncheck the primary source from the report. And the third one is deletion of documents that can be done by the Urkund coordinator. In case if you have uploaded a document due to any reason, if you want to delete that document, you can send a request to the Urkund coordinator of your institution or to the support team at support@egalactic.in with the document reference number. And once we have the document reference number, we would be able to delete those documents permanently from the repository. And next time when you upload the document, the system would not compare the document against the previously uploaded document because it is not a part of the repository anymore. So this way we can manage multiple submissions. These are the 3 ways by which we can handle duplicates. And with this, I would like to wrap up for today. In case if there are any queries, we can take them up. And I would like to thank all of you for your patience and your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam, for your detailed presentation on the functionalities, different features of Urkund or original software. So now I request our faculty members to ask some queries so that we can sort out here itself. And Ms. Preeti Rati madam is ready to help us by clarifying our doubts here itself. Thank you, madam.
Good morning, madam.
Yeah.
Madam, I
Myself,
request you
Dr.
please
Bhavana.
introduce yourself and ask the question.
Okay, sir. Good morning to all. Myself, Dr. Bhanurekha, madam, from PG Agronomy Department. I am the PG in charge here, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
So my doubt is there, madam, many of the students, when we have checked with this, the treatments, madam, especially the weed control treatments, which consists of at least 50 to 60% of the same names of the chemicals, madam. So we are able to see a lot of plagiarism with the names, with the treatments. That was one thing, madam. And again, common nouns, madam. Common nouns for the simple things also, that was the thing. And as you have explained with the own articles, like with our own articles which we have published, or in case with the other terminology which holds good, like we have certain references, madam, like scientists and all, the method will be common for all the students, those who have done. That is one issue, standard method. Then the other thing is that if any number is common, for example, in a plant height parameter, the same number, because the crop may have a range of parameters. So for that also, we are getting a percentage of plagiarism, madam. And other thing is that being, because we are from the agriculture field, the parameters of the crops, then the soil parameters, and will have a common nomenclature, madam, across the world, with hardly 1 or 2 differences in the names and all. So we are finding much of the similarities with these things, madam, rather than writing style or something else.
So, ma'am, basically, I would just like to emphasize here that the percentage that is generated is the percentage of similarity. And as I mentioned during my presentation also, that the final, like once the subject matter expert has gone through the report, there may be certain instances whereby certain parts need not have been included in the report. You just mentioned that the names of the crops and the nomenclature which is being used, there are terminologies that are being used. They are going to be almost the same in those instances. Ma'am, in those instances, the subject matter expert can uncheck those parts of the document in which some kind of similarity has been found. If you think that it should not have been included in the report, report. And once you have reviewed the entire document, after that, ma'am, the final percentage that is arrived is the percentage of plagiarism. So, and I also would like to clarify here, ma'am, that is that like common nouns and the words that you just mentioned. So, ma'am, the system reads the entire document for similarity, and only specific words, ma'am, if we enable the option show detailed text differences, the system is bringing to our notice the difference between between our uploaded document as well as matching source text. However, the percentage of similarity that is being calculated, ma'am, is not based on a single word. It is based on strings of words, and the system uses the algorithm artificial intelligence, and the entire document is being scanned for similarity, and the percentage of similarity is being calculated. So just, ma'am, single words would not account for a high level of similarity in your paragraph. Howsoever, if you think that a lot of it is being highlighted as similar and it should not have been included, in that case, ma'am, the subject matter expert can review the document and you can uncheck those parts such that the similarity score would be recalculated and you can arrive at a final plagiarism.
What is the number of strings like it is comparing, madam? Three
Ma'am, it
words or
is,
5 words?
no, ma'am, it is actually based on the content. It is based on machine language and artificial intelligence is being used. So it would vary with the content. Of course, it would take into the consideration the general terms. So it is not possible to define as to how many word strings does it take. It is based on the content that is being uploaded.
Like, madam, we have two sets, like one set, it was with introduction, review of literature and material and methods. We have been prescribed for less than 50% of the plagiarism for this, madam. It is okay. But for the next set, wherein it consists of results and discussion, then summary and conclusions and abstract. Here it was less than 15%, madam. But because there are certain things which are very common in the results and discussion, not meant to say the same sentences or something. Because it is similar in all this. It is based on our study, which consists of some similarities. In other universities, like the whole thesis is taken into one set, madam, where they have given like 20 or 25%. Yes. What would you say, madam, if the thesis is into a single set, that would be, I mean, better, or into these two sets like this?
Ma'am, as far as I am aware, the entire thesis is being submitted as a single file by the other universities. And as per the UGC regulations, ma'am, less than 10% of similarity is being accepted by the universities for the entire thesis. UGC has clear-cut guidelines for that, like up to 10% is acceptable. And if it is more than 10%, something between 10 to 40, certain punishments and they have to be exercised and the document needs to be reviewed and submitted again. So as far as I'm aware, ma'am, the entire document is being uploaded as one, the entire thesis is uploaded as a single document. However, it can vary from university to university, ma'am. Yeah. I think you would have to get in touch with the committee and the library for the further details.
Yeah, because this is the first time we are going ahead, madam.
For a single file, madam, as Dr. Bhanureka madam has told, with regard to the query, we have two kind of similarities. Like UGC has recommended zero similarity for less than 10%, but here we have for first 3 chapters we have less than 50. The other 3 parts we have less than 15. So in that case, if we upload a single document, a single PDF document, how can we come to a conclusion that which part is got how much similarity?
So that's what I said, that if the university is following different rules, in that case, the faculties would have to go with that only. I gave a generalized statement that for most of the universities, they are uploading the single thesis.
Yeah,
Madam,
the
one more
thing,
thing, madam.
Yes, just one clarification, Dr. Bhanureka. I was just wondering, if you let it go as a single piece, now we are actually giving you a more edge, I think, when we, combine introduction, review, and materials and methods in one, and saying that less than 50%, right? It's because we know that in review of literature, there are certain things that you cannot avoid. However much you try to do original writing, you have taken from somewhere. and you are quoting them, you're citing them. So in case you make it a single piece, then I think that you will have an issue, with getting less than 10% or something. Isn't that so?
Yeah, madam, we tried in this way also, but somehow less than 15 means we are getting around 40 plus like that, madam, for the second set.
Yeah,
So
because
that's
it
what I
is
have asked.
it is sometimes I understand that why, because most of the time we pick up paragraphs from other theses because they might be doing similar study. And it is very convenient to pick up paragraphs from other theses and put it there and just change the values of your data. You will just substitute your data and the written matter will be that from another thesis. That could be your own thesis. For that matter, it could be a work of your previous student, and another student of yours who's coming afterwards will be continuing a similar work with maybe a different parameter, but the wordings will be the same. So obviously that is the reason you are getting issues. So every time trying to, the ingenuity lies in trying to express the results in a different way, though you mean to project the same result, but it has to be put in a different way, slightly different way, so that you escape the plagiarism cut. So that is the issue. I understand sometimes it is very difficult, but clubbing everything together is not going to really help you, I think.
Because madam, this is being the first time after completion of the thesis only, almost all we started checking with the plagiarism, madam. From next time, I think
But you
at
shouldn't
least after
do.
the finish
Actually,
of the chapters, we will
you
have
should
one idea,
start
madam,
with-
immediately.
Adenamma, introduction results, introduction, review, and materials and methods. Once generally those three finish first. So first you go with that. Then you will understand what to do. Results and discussion is supposed to be your original work. That is why
Yeah,
you
madam.
should get
Yeah.
less than 15%. So I understand that. So what exactly are you saying now?
Because we don't have an idea now, madam. Many of the other universities, they are going as a single set, madam. But we thought that this would be having an edge. But somehow, like for example, we will support with some of the findings, madam, similar findings or these results corroborate. That we cannot avoid, isn't it, madam? That
No,
is
you
also
cannot
showing like
avoid,
100%.
Amma. That is what she has given you one avenue, right? But simply you agree with this, and instead of saying that, you have to write it in such a way that it doesn't sound like the one that actually you have picked from that original to put it as it is.
Yes, paraphrasing.
Madam, we
You
have
have
tried
to
many
paraphrase.
ways, madam, many ways, but it is showing because a group of these things, that's the thing. So anyhow, we'll try it once again, madam, because the sanctity is lost just for reducing the, what you say, the percentage and all. Like we are going for trial and error method in order to reduce the plagiarism at the, to bring it down. That was the thing, madam.
Madam, already as per the presentation, if you feel those sources are not to be included in the analysis report, you can as a subject matter
Yes,
specialist, you can exclude.
We can.
You,
Yeah, you
Okay,
can
sir. Madam,
uncheck,
is it?
but you have to take the call by yourself.
exactly.
At the
Exactly.
Banu,
Okay,
you
okay.
have to take the onus on yourself to say that this will
Yes.
not come as plagiarism. I'm sure of it.
Okay.
I take responsibility for it and I will uncheck it. Tomorrow, if somebody asks at a later date, you should say, no, sir,
Yes.
this is obviously doesn't come under plagiarism. You should be in a
That's
condition
what.
to say it.
Because again, the same thing will take it to the librarian, madam, for a final check. So whatever I have done here, I should be able to support myself after going there also, madam. That is the thing.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes, madam. One more thing, like for removing the duplicate things and all, is it necessary that every time we need to send you a mail, or we can uncheck in the mailbox itself, madam, with the previous things which we have uploaded?
It is with the main administrator as well as coordinator only, madam, for removing the documents from the repository. You have,
Permanent deletions, you can get it done through the Urkund coordinator.
yeah.
And as far as unchecking the previously uploaded document is concerned, ma'am, that you can do also from your end, since that report is there with you.
So when we uncheck, there is no need to again send you for deletion, no, madam?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. If you have decided
So
to
we can
uncheck,
do
ma'am,
it
you
now.
can go ahead with uncheck also. And if you want to get it deleted, ma'am, you can write to support team at support@egalactic.in. Alternatively, you can also contact Ravi Kumar sir, and sir would be able to delete those documents from the repository.
But I feel we should also have Dr. Ravi Kumar. We should also
Madam.
know what they have unchecked.
Yeah. In the report, we can see, madam.
Yeah.
In the report, we
Ma'am,
can see
what happens is that the
what are
original
source of
report doesn't change. Sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt, sir. Ma'am, the original reports never change. Let us say that I had a 100% report and I unchecked a particular source and it has come down to 30%. But in the university portal, it is going to reflect 100% only. And as an admin, sir has access to all the reports that have been generated for all the faculty members. So the faculties can be questioned as to how has this come down.
Okay, that's great. Right.
Madam,
Ravi Kumar sir, as the presentation went very fast, so we were unable to note down all the things.
No
that
problem, madam. We will share you the recording. Okay, it's
Thank
not a
you.
problem. No need to worry. If you have any query, please ask.
Madam, now plagiarism certificate ante, I would request Madam Anita madam, plagiarism certificate ante ఇప్పుడు whatever we get through this printout and all, that is enough, no madam? మళ్ళీ separate గా ఏమీ certificate type చేయక్కర్లేదు.
I have not seen the plagiarism certificate that is generated from this Urkund. Let me see it, Banu. But basically,
ఎందుకంటే
it has
advisory
to-
committee కూడా అన్నారు మేడం.
Yeah. The one that has to go with the thesis will have to have the signature of the student, the guide,
Okay, madam.
and the chair.
Madam,
the chair.
please have a look on this certificate, madam. This kind of certificate will be downloaded, generated in Urkund. So here, all the details of the guide as well as the
As
student.
you can see, I cannot. I have.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
So, I can't see from here.
Ma'am, the PDF
I'll send it.
report, the first page of the PDF report is actually
Yes.
treated as a certificate.
You can show it.
Yeah, yeah.
Preeti
I'll
madam, you
just
can
share
show it.
the screen and I'll just show it to you.
Please.
Yeah, if that report has what we need, it is fine. Otherwise, we will have to see. We have to.
Yeah, it has all the details, madam.
It
from
has
which
the
source-
details, ma'am. It has the name of the document reference number, name of the submitter, and the percentage of similarity, the other sources. All these details are here, ma'am.
Yeah, submitter will be. Suppose submitter is the student, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then the chairman also has to sign.
Ma'am,
It is going to the chairman, right? It is going to the receiver will be the chairman.
yes, ma'am.
So after that, they will be submitting this report to us. So basically, only the student's signature is not even signature. It says he has submitted, and this
Yes,
is the
ma'am.
percentage.
Yes, ma'am.
But
So, ma'am, it gives us the name of the document, reference number, the date and time of submission, the name of the submitter, his email ID, percentage, and the analysis address. So this would signify to which particular faculty this document was uploaded, along with the sources, ma'am. So that is what is being used.
but still,
కమిటీ పేర్లు అయితే ఉండవు మేడం ఏమి.
Ayama?
కమిటీ పేర్లు అయితే ఉండవు కదా మేడం. ఇప్పుడు మనం చైర్మన్ గా మనమే సబ్మిట్ చేస్తున్నాము, రిసీవర్ గా మనమే రిసీవ్ చేసుకుంటున్నాం మేడం. స్టూడెంట్ పేరు ఉంటది కానీ కమిటీ ఎక్కడ రాదు మేడం.
Agreed. You are submitting. So first, student is submitting to you, then you are submitting, and then only chairman's thing will be there. But HOD also should know, right?
అంటే ఇంకా మనం చూపెట్టడమే మేడం, బికాజ్ వీ కెన్ డూ ఇట్ ఇన్ ఫ్రంట్ ఆఫ్ హిమ్ ఆర్ టేక్ ద సిగ్నేచర్.
Yeah, this is something that we will have to discuss at our level and do it. So I don't think we need to discuss it here, but we will think of it and come back to you soon, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning, madam.
Yeah.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Can I ask? I am Radhika.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam, are we giving it to the students is one question I have to analyze, or is it with only the faculty? And is there a limit on the number of documents that can be uploaded or number of times it can be checked for one student and total number of students that can be checked? So because we have in SABM lot many students and some of them have been also allotted to the outside chairmen. So are we giving access to the outside chairmen also?
Ma'am, as per directions from InflibNet, access can be given to all the faculty members as well as to all the research scholars of the university. So based on the data that has been uploaded on iShare portal, the data that has been shared with InflibNet, those many accounts can be created. And sir would be able to give you more insight into it. And as far as the number of times like uploading a document is concerned, ma'am, you can upload the document like 2 times or 3 times. However, it should not be made a practice to keep uploading the document multiple times, because then the focus actually shifts to just bringing down the percentage of similarity. Urkund as such would not restrict you from uploading a document multiple times. And the total number of documents that is being allocated to a particular institution is decided based on the number of faculty members and the number of research scholars that are a part of that university.
Yeah, Radhika madam, ఏంటంటే మనకు బేస్డ్ ఆన్ పిహెచ్డి స్టూడెంట్స్ ఓన్లీ దే హ్యావ్ అలొకేటెడ్ సమ్ డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ఫర్ అస్. సో 366 డాక్యుమెంట్స్ దే హ్యావ్ అలొకేటెడ్ ఫర్ PJTS AU. సో ఈచ్ డాక్యుమెంట్ కెన్ బి చెక్ 3 to 4 times ఓన్లీ. సో మిగతా వాళ్ళు మనకు అది చెక్ చేయడం లేదు కాబట్టి మనం ఎక్కువ సార్లు అది చెక్ చేస్తున్నాం, మనకేం ప్రివెంట్ చేయట్లేదు. బట్ ఈచ్ ఫ్యాకల్టీ ఏంటంటే దేర్ ఈజ్ ఎ లిమిట్, బట్ మనకు అది ఎక్కడ కూడా అది ప్రివెంట్ చేయకుండా ఆ మెకానిజం ఉంది. సో ఫస్ట్ అలొకేట్ చేసిన 366 డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ఆల్రెడీ మనకు ఎగ్జాస్ట్ అయిపోయాయి. రీసెంట్లీ వీ హ్యావ్ అగైన్ రిటర్న్ ఏ లెటర్, రిక్వెస్ట్ లెటర్ టు ద InflibNet ఫర్ ఇంక్రీజింగ్ ద డాక్యుమెంట్స్. అగైన్ దే హ్యావ్ ఇంక్రీజ్డ్ 300 డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ఫర్ అస్. సో జుడిషియస్ గా మనం వాడాల్సిన అవసరం అయితే ఉంది, ఎందుకంటే దిస్ ఇస్ నాట్ ఏ అన్లిమిటెడ్ డాక్యుమెంట్ చెక్. అదైతే ఒకసారి మనము గుర్తుంచుకోవాలి. అయితే స్టూడెంట్స్ కి వచ్చేసి ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళకి అకౌంట్ ఉంది, ఇట్స్ లైక్ దే కెన్ జస్ట్ సబ్మిట్ ఏ ఈమెయిల్ లాగా వాళ్ళకు అటాచ్మెంట్ ఇవ్వచ్చు, కానీ దే కెన్ నాట్ డూ ఎనీ అనాలిసిస్ ఆర్ సో. సో యాజ్ ఏ సబ్జెక్ట్ మ్యాటర్ స్పెషలిస్ట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు డూ ద అనాలిసిస్ పార్ట్. వాళ్ళు జస్ట్ సబ్మిటర్. అందుకే మనం ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళకి అకౌంట్ ఎక్కడ కూడా క్రియేట్ చేయలేదు. మనం డైరెక్ట్ వాళ్ళ సీడీలో తెచ్చి కూడా మనకు డైరెక్ట్ గా సబ్మిట్ చేయొచ్చు. మనము యాజ్ ఏ సూపర్వైజర్ యూ కెన్ రన్ త్రూ దేర్ థీసిస్ యూజింగ్ యువర్ ఓన్ అకౌంట్. అది మనం ఫాలో అవుతున్నాం.
But is there a restriction on the number of thesis or project work that can be checked by faculty?
No, madam. Actually, InflibNet వాళ్ళు MHRD వాళ్ళు సజెస్ట్ చేయడం ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళ లెవెల్లో పీజీకి వాళ్ళు ఇవ్వట్లేదు, అంటే కన్సిడర్ చేయలేదు. వాళ్ళు ఓన్లీ PhDని దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకునే వాళ్ళ డాక్యుమెంట్స్ అలాట్ చేశారు మనకి ఫస్ట్. సో ఆ ప్రకారం ఏంటంటే మనకు నియర్లీ ఇప్పుడు 700 డాక్యుమెంట్స్ మనకు ఉన్నాయి. దాంట్లో 350 వరకు మనకు ఎగ్జాస్ట్ అయ్యాయి. ఇప్పుడు మనకున్న అకౌంట్ లో మనకు లెఫ్ట్ ఓవర్ డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ఏంటంటే నియర్లీ 300 to 350 ఉన్నాయి. సో ఈ ఇయర్ అంటే PhD థీసిస్, MSc థీసిస్ మొత్తానికి మనకున్న లెఫ్ట్ ఓవర్ డాక్యుమెంట్స్ అన్ని. సో వీ హ్యావ్ టు యూజ్ దెమ్ జుడిషియస్లీ. దట్స్ వాట్ ఐ వాంట్ టు.
Yeah, because if you see, I think every year we will get around, see, if everybody who was admitted submits, you will get around 250 to 260 thesis.
Yes, madam. వస్తాయి.
Include everybody. So in that case, it should not be an issue, but unless others are using it for they're checking their papers and all that, what happens then?
ఎగ్జాస్ట్ అయిపోతుంది మేడం.
So then we need to create a separate account. Can we create a separate account for papers then, for faculty as such separately?
అంటే సిమిలర్ అకౌంట్ ఉంటుంది మేడం. ఆల్రెడీ వీ హ్యావ్ కమ్యూనికేటెడ్ ఆల్ అవర్ ఫ్యాకల్టీ డీటెయిల్స్ టు InflibNet ఫర్ క్రియేటింగ్ అకౌంట్స్. Accordingly, they have created accounts for each individual faculty of university. Nearly 500 accounts create అయ్యాయి ఆల్రెడీ. అవుట్ ఆఫ్ విచ్ ఎవరైతే ఇప్పుడు PhD సూపర్వైజ్ చేస్తున్నారో వాళ్ళు మాత్రమే యాక్టివేట్ చేసుకున్నారు, వాళ్ళు మాత్రమే ఇప్పుడు యూజ్ చేస్తున్నారు. సో మనకు ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. మిగతా వాళ్ళది ఎట్లాగో డియాక్టివేట్ లోనే ఉంది. అంటిల్ అన్లెస్ దే అగైన్ లాగిన్ అండ్ దే రిక్వెస్ట్ అస్ టు సెండ్ క్రెడెన్షియల్స్, అప్పటి వరకు కూడా వాళ్ళ అకౌంట్ యాక్టివ్ కాదు. ఇప్పుడు మేజర్ సూపర్వైజర్ ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో వాళ్ళు మాత్రమే వాడుతున్నారు యాక్టివ్ గా, మిగతా వాళ్ళు అయితే వాడట్లేదు.
Sir, the project report, I have done it and then seen, I have uploaded twice the same document. And then I have got the Urkund report and we have submitted it also. So that way we are also doing MBA project work. So
Yeah,
which
it's
is,
our internal understanding, madam. That is our internal understanding.
so I just want to understand because for our students, the chairmans are from outside. If
Okay.
I have to do for every student, is it possible?
No, you can check it from your account, madam.
Okay.
You can check it from your account. We can't give accounts to other outsiders, no?
Then in that case, actually, because some of the guides are from outside the university, then the HOD can do that check or with the help of the PG in charge.
Afterwards, they can share their report to the concerned supervisors. Based on their remarks, we can reassess the similarity level.
Okay. PC Rao garu.
Madam, here మీరు outside అన్నారు కదా, outside
Sir, a little louder, sir.
Madam,
little
మన
louder.
department లో కూడా now I am audible, madam?
Uh,
Go I am
yeah.
audible?
Yeah.
మేడం, యాక్చువల్గా మనము బయట వాళ్ళకి ఇచ్చినప్పుడు ఇంటర్నల్ గా కూడా ఒక అడ్వైజరీ కమిటీ మెంబర్ ఉంటాడు కదా మేడం,
Yeah.
మేజర్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్, ఆయనతో అప్లోడ్ చేయొచ్చు. ప్లస్ సెకండ్లీ మనకు ప్లాజియరిజం అనేది వన్స్ స్టూడెంట్ రైట్స్ అండ్ రైట్ కరెక్ట్స్, వన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ కరెక్టెడ్ బై ఆల్ advisory committee members, then people ఇస్తే that should not be a problem for getting it corrected easily. After all these steps, ఎందుకంటే అడ్వైజరీ కమిటీ చూసిన తర్వాత సబ్మిట్ చేసేది మేడం.
No, that is true, sir. But the advisory committee, one more thing I'll tell you. If the student lifts some sentences from some other this thing, it is not that the guide can sit and read through every single article from where he has written those lines, sir. It's not that easy. You just go, the chairman will go by faith on the student. That's it. You just think that it is done. Then it becomes humanly impossible. Every paragraph, from where he has taken, then I have to sit and ask him, okay, this paragraph from which study you have put, I have to sit with him and do it. See, him or her. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it is difficult, but sometimes it becomes an issue. Most of the times now what is happening, people have become used to the cut and paste usage. So that is becoming a headache.
Yes, ma'am. You are right. That's absolutely right, madam. Guide has to take some interest in editing the manuscript, madam. Thank you.
Anyone else? I think I heard some people actually facing some issues with their papers. Nobody who has uploaded papers for review? Faculty? So, am I to assume that, yes?
From the thesis, madam?
Whether from the thesis or from their research work or whatever. I know that some people are using it to scan their, to be submitted research papers. Good morning, sir. I welcome the Director of Research, Dr. Jagdishwar Garu.
Good morning, madam. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Nobody is saying anything about scanning papers, sir.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I register my appreciation to the madam and also Ravi Kumar Garu for giving an excellent overview about the plagiarism. And really, I was very much interested. I have gone through entire program, and she has clearly spelled out each activity step by step. It really worked. And particularly, it is very, as compared to, I have seen some of the plagiarism software. As compared to them, this is having specialty. Particularly, it is easily accessible. And easily it can be integrated with other systems. That is one of the most key aspect what I could notice during your presentation. And second one is it is highly accessible and also reliable as compared to other these things. And another thing is I want to know what about the data security ones. So that is one of the most important aspects that need to be that really could be, and also the support, customer support. So whenever there is any shortfalls or any uploading or some because of this malware other times while getting lot of issues. So what we can go for that in case of customer support, how best we can get that one. And finally, this safeguard and academic integrity. So these are the things need to be considered. And one more my request to librarian is that can we have it some of one or two pieces for each department. If we can practice and give some training to the students, and we should make awareness from the beginning itself.
Sir.
And if they are not at the end of the submission, if we can able to give a classes for the teachers and also research scientists and also other people, so that would be of more impact, so that they can easily understand this situation and how best we can upload them and these things. These are the few remarks from my side. Thank you. And thank you, Anita, for arranging and for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Preeti madam, can you throw some light on the issues like data security and integrity and
Yes.
support related matters? Okay,
Yes.
what our director of research sir has asked.
Yes. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for the kind words and the appreciation. Basically, sir, we are GDPR 2018 compliant, and whatever is being uploaded is like secured and is not shared with anyone else. So this is one of the most stringent like security compliances, and you can be assured from the perspective of data security. And as far as customer support is concerned, sir, you can write to us in case of any queries. You can write to us at support@egalactic.in, and I would also share the helpline number for our support so that you can reach to us directly in case if there's any query. And we try to resolve all the queries within a span of 6 hours. Like on all the working days between Monday to Friday, sir, if you have had any queries from your side, we try to resolve them within a 6 hour span time. However, we are not working on Saturdays and Sundays. In case if there's anything urgent, you can leave us a text message and we could help you in resolving this issue.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Anyone who has already used the helpline system and had some difficulties, this is the time to talk, please. Because sometimes even they might not be aware of some issues which you should bring to their notice if there are issues, if there are real issues. You can, but then you can't call on a Saturday and say they did not respond to me, because she is very clear that Saturdays and Sundays are not support time. So you can do it only on weekdays and wait for 6 hours or more, a little more, and then respond, or rather give another complaint or raise a query.
Yeah, why? Thank you, Anita. Actually, I'm Manisri.
Yes.
Actually, we are using this facility to check our manuscripts while uploading, because that has to go through this plagiarism check. We actually were unable to do the analysis as easily as in case of Turnitin. Of course, this presentation is very useful. Certain of the things there also we are facing lot of problems to remove those earlier submitted documents. Actually, I contacted almost 2-3 months back. I have done this one, but during that time we were not aware of how to remove and all. So now it is clear, but still we need those recorded video, this recorded video by Ravi Kumar sir as early as possible to complete our students' thesis.
We will share, madam. We will share the recorded video. It's not a problem.
Sir, Ravi Kumar Garu, I think what DR sir suggested also is a good idea.
Yeah.
Though it will be a little extra work for you and your team. Could we have department-wise once a hands-on thing, we run a thing, a thesis check for all the faculty as well as the students also can stay there and see how it is done. So
Madam.
once they understand that, it becomes easy for them. Then after that, nobody should come back to university librarian and ask, I don't know this, please tell me. Because once we have trained you all, you become the trainers for the next generation of students. I think that should work. So can we think of it? Please think, because it is time for us, because I have given the submission date as July 25th. You are also aware, in fact, you were the one who pushed me to have this
Yes, madam.
workshop now. So
Yes, madam.
kindly
Since I'm getting so many queries, madam, how to from how to upload and how to activate the account to, again, how to analyze the report, how to view the report, how to minimize the similarity level and all. So in that context, I have contacted the concerned support team to have this program on this day. Actually, we were planning last 2 to 3 months. We were planning to have this program, but due to some problems, internal problems, we could not make it. So definitely we will help, madam. But visiting each and every department is
you don't need to visit. You
yeah.
don't need to visit.
Yeah.
Either you
If
plan
they
it
have,
in your computer, in your
yeah.
center.
Yes,
They
yes.
will
If
come.
they have
That
any
is not
issues,
an issue.
they can visit and they can contact me at any time, madam. I am ready to help them. But I am the only person in the library. You know that, madam. Entire university, I have to look after the queries from other centers. I have to look after the queries from other constant colleges, and here also in the KMs I have to look after. I have to attend the meetings and all. So
Otherwise, we can do one thing from each department. We will ask them to depute 2 faculty.
fine.
From each
That
department.
would be fine. That would be
Then
fine.
once they learn, they can go back and apprise all
Yes.
the other faculty and students.
Yes.
That would
Local
be a better
coordinators
thing.
local coordinators we can appoint, madam, so that they can be trained and they can take care of their own place. Like
Narendra Reddy garu, AD Rajan Nagar is not
Yes,
there.
madam.
Ah,
Yes, madam.
Narendra garu, I think this is a better idea. If they are already aware of the thing, no issue. But you make sure that each department has a coordinator for this, and it need not necessarily be the PG in charge, because already if she or he is ready to take it up, I am fine. But along with the PG in charge, there has to be one more who will coordinate.
Okay, madam.
Coordinate doesn't mean that they will sit and do all the thesis of the students. It only means that they will teach the other faculty to if they have issues.
Facilitate.
Exactly.
yeah. Local coordinator.
మన దగ్గర కోఆర్డినేటర్ అనగానే ఇదిగో తీసుకో చేసుకో అన్నట్టు ఉంటుంది. I don't want that. Each one has to do their own stuff, but they will only facilitate in case of issues.
ఈచ్ కాలేజ్ నుంచి మనకు కనుక అట్లా కనుక లోకల్ కోఆర్డినేటర్స్ అయితే అగైన్ నేను ఎక్స్క్లూజివ్ ట్రైనింగ్ కూడా నేను వాళ్ళతో ఒకటి ప్లాన్ చేస్తాను. సో దట్ ఫస్ట్ వీళ్ళకి ఐడియా ఉంటే ఏంటంటే మనం ట్రైన్ చేయొచ్చు వేరే వాళ్ళని. అటువంటి ప్రోగ్రామ్ కూడా ఒకటి పెట్టేసి ఏంటంటే నేను కూడా మధ్యలో హెల్ప్ చేస్తుంటాను.
Okay, madam. I'll in consultation with the HODs, I'll send the local coordinators of each department to you, madam, by tomorrow or after tomorrow, madam.
Okay. Even Jagityal College and Kandi are there.
Madam, good morning, madam.
And community science also.
Okay.
Community science, who is
Madam,
yeah.
Madam, I'm online.
Okay, ma'am. So I think you can coordinate.
Problem, but I joined.
Yeah.
So I'll maybe not. I wouldn't suggest to the existing PG academic in charges, because their term will be only for 1 year. So maybe, and they are already busy with so many activities.
That's what I told madam. I didn't say that they have to be PG in charges. They could be anyone from the department, but who has to take responsibility of teaching the others also as to how this software works.
So how many would you like to be nominated from our college?
It is not how many.
One or two.
1 or 2, madam. That's it.
Two shall I suggest?
Yes, 2 is fine for me. You should
Okay.
ask Ravi Kumar sir, because he is
Two okay,
ultimately.
madam. No, two okay.
Sir,
We can-
two, they should be coming to the library.
No, madam. First, they have to understand the software, its functionalities. If they face
Okay.
any problem, if they face any problem, we will have an exclusive hands-on training program for them in association with eGalactic or Inflibnet. So based on their exposure, they can extend their expertise to the other people who are there in the departments. That is our idea.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So that every time they need not to come to KMC or so that they can rectify their issues there itself within the departments or by sitting with their peers.
So when should they come if they have a problem?
That we will decide.
Go through.
Madam, no need to come, madam. We can
No,
organize online.
I'm saying in the next week, or let us say by Monday, let them go through the software.
Yes,
Let
yes.
them identify the problems, and by Monday they should get back to you. That's what
Yes.
I'm trying to say.
Yes. Yeah. Meanwhile, madam, lot of stuff is available in eGalactic site, eGalactic website. Like they have posted complete books in that, and material, step-by-step material, as well as videos are also available in YouTube. If we put some interest in that, we can learn those things and its functionalities. If we got any doubts, we can also take the help of support team.
The whole issue is about no one has time to go through the materials, sir. So this recording.
Yeah, definitely.
And the video, I think that would be good for everybody.
Fine.
So if they are able to do it and then come back with issues, at the department level, somebody should take responsibility to be kind enough to facilitate the process.
Madam, I have a suggestion here, madam.
Yes, sir.
Madam, actually, ఇప్పుడు డిపార్ట్మెంట్స్ ఒకళ్ళిద్దరు అనే బదులు ఆ గైడ్ వెళ్ళి దాన్ని అప్లోడ్ చేసుకుంటే వాళ్ళకి ఐడియాస్ ఉంటాయి కదా మేడం, ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నా కానీ ఓవర్ పీరియడ్ ఆఫ్ టైం. ఇప్పుడు ఇమీడియట్గా 5 days అంటే కష్టం అనుకోండి, బట్ ది గైడ్ హిమ్సెల్ఫ్ గోస్ అండ్ కంప్లీట్స్ ది ఫార్మాలిటీ ఆఫ్ అప్లోడింగ్ అండ్ గెటింగ్ ఇట్, విల్ ఇట్ నాట్ బి ఈజీ?
No, sir. The point is the guide will not think of uploading at this point. Depends on when the student is going to finish their work. Appudu then they will wake up. That is
Yes,
how it
ma'am.
happens. So I am not sitting for that, because basically I might be getting some theses by the end of next week. What about them? So somebody has to be prepared in the department to at least let the guides know. The guides have to do their own work. It's not like somebody will call them, teach them and all that.
Yes.
One self-teaching mode, they have to find out for themselves.
Yes.
And then if they have issues, then we'll have somebody trained in the department apart from the PG in charge who will be able to, if they are able to be trained, and then they can clarify their doubts. If both are unable to do it, then they will come back to eGalactic. So simply for every small thing you cannot run, kada. It becomes difficult. Ultimately, the onus is on the guide only, no doubt. But
Yes.
I think what we can do is maybe to simplify. There are, I think almost all the faculty have attended this meeting. We will ask them to go through that software by Monday, and then make a note of all the problems that they are facing and give it to the identified people in the college so that they will take care of the answers. I think that way everyone will be able to do it.
Madam, that is also not very fair. Because they will have to work it out within the college. They have to sit and discuss and see if one person has not been able to do it, there might be another person who would have done it. So let them discuss there first. Then only it has to come up. Then it has
Discuss and give it to 1 or 2 identified people. All of them will not come to Dr. Ravi Kumar. We are anyway going to identify 1 or 2 people per college. So let everyone have a hands-on experience on their own. Write down the list of problems they are facing and give it to the 2 identified people. 1 or 2 identified people.
Yeah, 1 or 2 identified people also. They also see what I mean to say is sometimes these small issues can be resolved at the college level only, madam, because there might be
Yes,
somebody.
madam, they can be done. 2 people anyway we are identifying.
Yeah.
Maybe they can sit and do it. I think that way everyone need not be wondering what is going to happen.
Okay, fine. And that's okay. I think you can coordinate that with the nodal officer.
Yes, yes.
If no one has any more doubts and queries, please go through the recording again. Please go through the videos on the eGalactic site, and then you get back to either Ravi Kumar sir or Miss Rati, or you can go to the support team. Yes, am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right. Does anyone have any more queries? It appears everybody is very satisfied. Okay. Dr. Ravi, you can kindly propose.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
At the outset, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion of one-day sensitization workshop on operational aspects of Urkund or original software. I'm very much thankful to the university for giving me this opportunity to interact with all the faculty members and to facilitate a training program on one of the important plagiarism detection software and its functionalities. So I extend my sincere thanks to our chief guest of today's function, Dr. Anita Madam, and for all her support to conduct this program. I also extend my sincere thanks to eGalactic, especially Miss Preeti Rati Madam, for her extensive presentation and clarifying all the doubts of our faculty members and who are attending this workshop. And I also thankful to all the associate deans of colleges, Rajendra Nagar, Jagityal, Home Science, and Sangareddy. And I also thankful to all the deans and directors and university officers, especially our director of research and Dean of Community Science, Madam, and other university officials for gracing this occasion and for instructing their people to be alert with the plagiarism detection software and to learn the things and to sort out the things at their own level. So it's because of this training we now we have a clear picture on how to move ahead with this plagiarism detection software and how to use this Urkund for taking effective presentation of our documents in a global scenario. So with this few words, I thank one and all for giving me this opportunity, and thank you one and all.
Thank you, Ravi Kumar Garu. It was very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi Kumar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Rati.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving me this
Thank you.
opportunity.